Hey guys, so the time has come for my big pre-move makeup collection declutter. Today we are tackling my base products, so foundations, concealers, primers, setting sprays, and powders. And as I've mentioned a few times in previous videos, this is probably going to be a bit more cutthroat than my usual declutters. We are moving cross-country from Georgia to Seattle, so everything that I'm taking with me is either going to be in a makeup bag that I'm keeping with me during the move, and then everything else will be packed into a box and shipped, I think, via UPS. So basically I'm going to be asking myself for every item, does it make sense for me to pay to ship this? Because if not, I'm probably better off just passing it on to a friend, family. Some things I can donate to Project Beauty Share. So I'm really just viewing this as a good opportunity for a fresh start with my makeup collection. So let's go ahead and dive in, and let's just start with primers. So I do have just two face primers. Primers really aren't a big part of my makeup routine as it is. I like both of these for when I do want to use a primer. I have the e.l.f. Jelly Pop Dew Primer and the Smashbox Vitamin Glow. The Smashbox Vitamin Glow is a really small, just deluxe sample. Honestly, I was using this a lot in hopes of just kind of finishing it up before the move, but I feel like this actually irritated my skin when I used it too many days in a row. Maybe it has to do with like the citrus. I think there's some kind of citrus fragrance in here. So even though I do like this primer, I think I'm just going to go ahead and pass it on. I'm sure a friend or my mom could use this up pretty quickly, so I'm just going to let go of that. This is going to be our declutter basket. And the e.l.f. Jelly Pop Dew Primer, I think I will go ahead and keep this. This is a really nice primer. I can definitely see why so many people love it. And whenever I am in the mood to use a primer, this is a really good go-to. So I'm going to go ahead and keep that. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at my foundations. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and pick out the ones here that I know I want to keep, that are like my holy grails I don't want to part with. The Kosas Revealer Foundation, really loving this. This is just a great skin-like medium coverage foundation, great for every day. Also going to keep my Urban Decay Hydromaniac. This one is similar to the Kosas, just a little bit dewier. Love both of these. Also going to keep my ColourPop Pretty Fresh. This is my favorite drugstore foundation. Another great medium coverage one that's a little bit more on the satin finish side rather than super dewy. And the last one I know I want to keep is the Ilia Super Serum Skin Tint. Love this one for a lighter coverage, dewy, really breathable summer foundation especially. It's expensive, but amazing. So that I'm gonna keep. So honestly, between these four foundations, I think I pretty much have everything I need. Let's take a look at the remaining ones and see how we're feeling. So I think I've decided to go ahead and declutter my Oma Beauty Say What foundation. I really liked this one when I first got it. I think that my skin type has just changed, but I think I found this is just a little bit too finicky for my dry skin these days. It really can accentuate dryness. Even if I didn't realize I had any dry patches on my face, it kind of brings those out. And I did have better luck layering this over a really dewy sunscreen like the Josie Maran Argan SPF 47. But even by the end of the day, my skin was starting to look really dry. So I just think I have, these other four I picked out that I just like more, that I can just trust to look good on my skin. So I think that one is an easy declutter for me. The NYX Born to Glow, you guys know I had this in my Project Pan for a while this year. My goal was to finish this up this summer. And I mean, you can tell there's really not a lot left in here. Because this is really just kind of an average foundation to me, I don't love it. I don't like it as much as the other four that I'm definitely keeping. And because I would say I'm probably like 80 to 90% finished with this, I don't think it's going to make sense to bring this with me because, as some people have pointed out, when things are this close to being empty, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to transport it. If this were like my favorite foundation of all time, I probably would go ahead and keep it, but because it's not, I think I'd rather just go ahead and pass it on. I'm sure my mom, I think this would probably match my mom pretty well, and she might like this. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and let go of that. The CoverGirl Clean Fresh Skin Milk. I love the way this looks on my skin. It looks beautiful. It's a nice like light coverage glowy foundation. But you know what else is a nice light coverage glowy foundation? The Ilia Skin Tint. And this has SPF in it. So if it's between these two, I'd probably prefer to reach for the Ilia one anyway. And on top of that, I recently realized that this CoverGirl one does seem to break me out when I wear it multiple days in a row because it does contain coconut oil. So I don't think I'm going to take this with me. I think I had this standing upright the other day and I realized that I have used it up till right about here. So I've used a good bit of this, but I think just with it not being a total favorite and having others that I like better, I think I am, again, just going to pass that one on as well. And finally, the Undone Unfoundation Matte Tint. This is a really, really light coverage skin tint, and it's actually really rare to find a matte skin tint. It seems like most of them are dewy, so I think it's nice that this option is out there. Dang, you know, I was gonna keep this, but honestly, I just don't feel that attached to it. And normally, I think if this were one of my normal declutters and I weren't about to move, I probably would hold on to this, but like I said before, if it's not something that I really feel is worth paying to take with me, I'd rather just let someone else use it. And again, like I said, if I'm going for something lightweight, I think I would just prefer the Ilia one. So I think I'm just gonna let go of this one as well. It is a really good drugstore skin tint, and honestly, maybe one day down the road, I wouldn't mind having it again, but I just don't feel like it's a staple enough for me to hold on to it. So, wow. If you've been here a while and you've seen my previous declutters, you know that this is amazing for me. Okay, so I basically kept 4 foundations and decluttered 4. So I just cut my foundation collection in half. That feels so good. I'm so pleased. Normally I'm not this good at letting go of stuff, but I feel like, you know, I'm really enjoying this opportunity to kind of downsize. So I feel really good about that. Oh, I just realized I missed the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter. I'm not really sure how to categorize this because it's kind of a primer, it's kind of a liquid highlighter. I am gonna hold on to this just because it's such an iconic product. I have a mini, so it doesn't take up much space, and I still have a good bit left of this, so I'm gonna go ahead and keep that as well. All right, so next up we have my concealers. Let's see, so this one I'm actually trying to finish before the move because as you can see, it is a mini, and it is really close to being done. I think I'm actually gonna take the stopper out in the next couple of days. And I think it's very, very doable for me to use this up in the next week because there's really not a whole lot left in there. So this one is going to be gone. One that I know I'm not getting rid of is the Kosas Revealer Concealer. Love this, great hydrating skin-like concealer. I'm also gonna keep my e.l.f. Hydrating Camo. This is a longtime favorite of mine. As you can see, I don't have much left. This might be the one that I take in my makeup bag, but yeah, I don't want to get rid of that because I would like to finish that up. All right, then we have the CoverGirl Clean Fresh Hydrating Concealer. This is a very light coverage concealer, which might be a good option for a lot of people. It's just that for me, if I'm going to the trouble of applying concealer, I'm at least gonna wear something that has medium coverage because I do have pretty dark circles. And you know, if I wanted something lighter coverage, I could just use a smaller amount of the Kosas one and get a really similar effect. So this one just doesn't really stand out to me as a staple in my collection. I don't love it. I think somebody else might enjoy this more than I do, and I really haven't used that much of this. So I'm gonna go ahead and pass that on. Maybe somebody would enjoy the combo of these two together. Then we have the LA Girl Pro Conceal. This is actually a relatively recent purchase for me. I think I bought this within the last couple of months. And so it's pretty full. This is honestly pretty good. It's a good medium to high coverage concealer, and I think I will go ahead and keep this because once that e.l.f. one is gone, I think I will enjoy having this as a good higher coverage option. Then I have the Becca Under Eye Brightening Corrector. This I have in the shade light to medium. I really don't use this very much. So just considering how infrequently I use it, I just don't know if color correctors are really that helpful for me. I think I just prefer a solid coverage concealer. I've kind of made peace with the fact that like I'm gonna have some amount of a dark circle peeking through because the shape of my face, a lot of it is just a shadow. I can't just completely cancel out that darkness. So even though I have enjoyed this for just kind of bumping up the coverage of my concealer a little bit, I think just how infrequently I use this makes it not really make sense to take with me. So I know Becca went out of business. This product is actually still sold under Smashbox now, so if I ever really wanted it again, I could purchase it, but I just don't see that happening. So that's another question I'm kind of asking myself about all these products is like, if I declutter these or if I were to like lose these, would I feel the need to replace them? And for this, I think the answer would probably be no. I think I'd still be content without this. So wow, I am doing so well. So these are the 4 concealers that I'm keeping. Really, it's more like 3 because this little one is going to be used up before we go. So wow, I feel so good about this. Alrighty, powder time. Look at these cuties. So this one, similar to that Urban Decay concealer, this is the CoverGirl Clean Fresh Pressed Powder. I recently repressed this, so it's a super thin layer here, and you can even see like the little rings peeking through again. This I am also planning on just using up in the next week before we go. If all goes according to plan, this will be empty and I can go ahead and get rid of the packaging and not bring that with me. So love this one, by the way. This is my favorite pressed powder of all of all of these. Another one I'm gonna keep for sure is the e.l.f. Halo Glow Setting Powder. I love this stuff. This is just a great loose powder that doesn't look heavy or cakey. It's amazing. Kind of similar to the CoverGirl one, honestly. It's just like a loose powder instead. So keeping that. This is another one I really enjoy. This is the e.l.f. Sheer Tint Finishing Powder. I do have pan on this, but I do have quite a bit of this left. So this one I am gonna go ahead and keep and eventually use up because I do really like it. I'm also gonna go ahead and keep the Kosas Cloud Set Powder in Airy. This is a product that I definitely don't think is worth the money, but because I spent my hard-earned money on it, I am gonna keep it. It's a perfectly good powder. I like it probably, you know, just as much as the e.l.f. one. It's just a good setting powder, nothing wrong with it. So I do wanna go ahead and keep it. Wow, it looks like I've actually used a pretty good bit. I'm looking in the monitor there. Dang, all right, look at me. So yeah, that I'm gonna, oh wait, I accidentally put this. I just realized I put that e.l.f. powder in the declutter pile. I'm moving that out of there now. But yeah, this one I am going to keep. All right, here's two minis. We have the Bare Minerals Original Mineral Veil. This I actually got as a birthday gift from Ulta, so, you know, it's not like I bought it myself. This is a pretty good mattifying powder. It's actually very mattifying. The problem with this is it really causes my makeup to oxidize. It makes everything I put it on top of look darker. Because I already have other powders that I like better, including a loose powder that I like better, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and pass this on, especially because I didn't buy it myself. So I know a lot of people love this, so I'm sure somebody will really enjoy that. Then we have this lovely little Hourglass Ambient Lighting Powder in Diffused Light. You guys know this is another high-end powder that I just don't feel is worth the money. Gosh, you know, I was pretty dead set on keeping this because I did buy this myself, but the more I think about it, the more I just feel like it's like, why force myself to use it, even if I did buy it myself? The way I kind of see it now is like, the damage is done, I already bought it, either I can force myself to use it up or I can give it to someone else who might enjoy it. And I just don't really use finishing powders like this. I really just prefer setting powders. I don't feel like this does a whole lot for me, and it's really not meant to be used as a setting powder. It doesn't really work that well as a setting powder, so yeah, I think I'm gonna pass on this little guy. Didn't think that would be happening. And honestly, again, if I weren't moving, I probably wouldn't declutter this, but just the nature of how we're doing our move, it just doesn't make sense for me to pack anything that I don't absolutely love. So, wow. Goodbye. This is so freeing, you guys. This feels so freeing. So these are the 4 powders that I'm keeping. Really, it's more like 3 because this one will be finished before we go. So I feel so good right now. Alrighty, and last but not least, we have my setting sprays. So I think this is going to be a pretty easy category. I know I'm keeping my Revolution Fix and Glow Dewy Finish Setting Spray. This is one of my favorite purchases of 2022 so far. This is one of the best glowy setting sprays I've ever used. It smells really good, but not like overpowering. It just gives the most beautiful glowy finish without making your skin feel tacky or oily. It's amazing. So definitely keeping that. And the rest of these are all long wear setting sprays. I have 3 Urban Decay ones and this Revolution Superfix. The Revolution Superfix, this is an easy declutter for me. I do not enjoy using this. It smells so strongly like cheap hairspray. I don't like the sprayer. It's just like, it doesn't give you a continuous mist like you would think in a bottle like this. And it's just a very strong sprayer. It just makes my face so wet. But I do notice a difference in terms of the wear of my makeup, and it has a slight kind of oil controlling property that by the end of the day, your skin will be a little bit less shiny and oily if you use this. So it's not a bad product if you can get past those cons I mentioned, but for me, it's just not worth it. I don't really need something super, super long wearing most of the time. So it's just not for me, but I'm gonna go ahead and pass that on. And then I have 3 of these Urban Decay setting sprays. This Chill one I've been using a lot because it was pretty close to being done. This is, I would say there's probably about this much left. So I think I am ready to part with this. I'll pass it on to someone else who can use up the rest. I think this is honestly pretty similar to the All-Nighter, just in different packaging with a different name. So I'm gonna go ahead and let that go. And then I have just the original All-Nighter in this mini size and the new Vitamin C All-Nighter. I think I should just keep one of these and pass on the other. I was sent this one in PR, this Vitamin C one, and this one I bought myself. The Vitamin C one, the sprayer on this is weird. There's something defective about it where it just sprays really unevenly, It's not clogged or anything. I mean, even the very first time I used it, it was like that. But other than that, it just reminds me a whole lot of the regular all-nighter, so I don't feel the need to keep both of these. I'm gonna go ahead and pass on the vitamin C one. And I'll keep this regular all-nighter. I do like to use this if I am wanting my makeup to last a really long time. I do feel like it makes a difference, and the sprayer on this one is really good. So I'm just gonna keep this one. Also bonus that it doesn't take up much space, and I think this bottle is more than halfway full, so that one will be staying with me. These are the 2 setting sprays I'm keeping. The other 3 I'm letting go of. This is amazing. Wow, I feel so free. All right, so here is everything I'm keeping versus everything that I'm getting rid of. This feels so much better. So I just counted, I'm getting rid of a total of 12 items, and I'm keeping 16. And I just feel so much lighter after doing this. I'm really excited to tackle the rest of my categories. Stay tuned for those next upcoming declutters. I'll have one for cheek products, one for palettes, and then I think one for like lip products and miscellaneous. A lot of declutters coming up, so if you're into declutters, be sure you're subscribed, and I will talk to you again very soon in my next video. Bye.